Officials are working to find a better way to treat stormwater in Hyannis. DPW crews are already working to fill potholes around town. And a Barnstable police officer is now on paid administrative leave after he was arrested and charged with drunk driving. These stories and more on this episode of Barnstable Today. It's Tuesday, March 31st, 2015. I'm Sarah Mantle. A plan to design and construct a more environmentally friendly method of treating stormwater in and around Bismore Park will be discussed during tonight's Conservation Commission meeting. The plan is part of the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency's project that will retrofit several storm drain systems on Cape Cod. The CONCOM meets tonight at 6:30 in the Town Hall hearing room. While it may not feel like it yet, it is officially springtime. DPW crews, that means it's time to clean up the roads after the brutal winter we had. A lot of spring road maintenance has been delayed due to lingering snow and cold. DPW Director Dan Santos says they will begin cleanup efforts by first removing sand from our roadways.
Sweeping the roads, and this year we put down a lot more sand because we ran out of salt. You may recall us talking about that. So that sand that you put down, now you have to pick it up. You can't just leave it there because it clogs the catch basins and it becomes a road hazard if you get a lot of sand on intersections. So we have to do much more of that than we normally do. And then road striping, as you plow and put down these materials, it damages the paint and the material that we put down for the striping. So we'll have to do more of that with the yellow lines in the center and the fog lines, the white lines on the outer part of the road. Sidewalks suffer damage, and guardrails are typical things that we're doing in the spring with our road project, and that's all over and above the work that we're doing on pothole repairs and drainage structures that may have sunk or gotten broken apart. And we're fortunate enough this year, as we were last year, because of the harsh winter, that the state provided some funding from transportation funds. I think it was $30 million statewide, and our portion of that is $300,000 that the state will make available to us immediately for doing road repairs. So we'll focus that probably likely on patching.
Santos says while they wait for the asphalt plant to open, they are working on temporary fixes for some of the larger potholes around town.
We are able to go pick up some asphalt because there is a plant. It's quite a bit off Cape, up more towards Boston, that is making asphalt. But we only have a small truck, so we can go get some of that. And on the really bad repairs on the major roads, we will use that. And on the secondary roads and the smaller things, we're still using the coal patch. Basically, it's a sand and gravel, but it has a little bit of tar in it to try to keep it together. And that's more of a temporary patch. But it does fill the holes so that you don't feel like it's jarring your car as you go over that or causing damage or anything like that.
Santos says other spring road projects are also underway. A reminder to Cotuit residents, crews are working on a reconstruction project on Main Street from Ocean View to Vineyard Ave. A Barnstable police officer is on paid administrative leave after he was arrested and charged with drunk driving. Barnstable This Morning host Sarah Colvin talked about the incident and some other topics this morning with Barnstable Police Chief Paul McDonald. We share a portion of that interview with you now.
Chief, I want to start off with talking about a story that's been in the news for the past couple of days regarding the arrest of a Barnstable police officer. The arrest, of course, happened when he was off duty. Tell me a little bit about this incident, Chief.
Officer Bowman, he was arrested. Police officers responded to Cape Mart, which is located in the corner of Central Street and Barnstable Road. They were responding there regarding a minor motor vehicle accident, possibly a hit-and-run motor vehicle accident. The first responding officers, when they arrived, they found only one vehicle in the parking lot. When they exited the cruiser, approached the vehicle, they recognized the vehicle and the operator to be Officer Bowman. They immediately then, per our policy, procedure, rules, and regulations, contacted their supervisor. The supervisor responded. They knocked on the window. They made some observations about Officer Bowman's behavior and the odor of alcohol on his breath. They went inside, talked to the clerk. They pulled all the tapes from the store. It clearly shows Mr. Bowman entering and exiting the market several different times. They returned out to have a conversation with Mr. Bowman. They asked him to step out of the motor vehicle. And they requested him to perform several field sobriety tests, all of which, in their opinion, he failed. He did not pass to their satisfaction. He was then placed under arrest for operating a motor vehicle under the influence of alcohol. He was then transported back to our facility where he was booked. During the booking procedure, he requested to go to the hospital, saying that his blood sugar alcohol level was elevated. We then brought him to Cape Cod Hospital. We was there for several hours being treated and returned back to the station where he was bailed at approximately 2 a.m. And then he was at court yesterday for his arraignment and charged with operating a motor vehicle under the influence and operating a vehicle without headlights.
So what happens, Chief, to his role at Barnstable Police at this time?
At this time, he's been placed on administrative duty because he flunked the breathalyzer. His license is automatically been suspended for 180 days, which means he's assigned to the facility until his case gets adjudicated. Obviously, yesterday we will start the internal affairs investigation to make a determination what our punishment is going to be when this is finally adjudicated. Until then, he's confined to the station, which means he'll be working the desk, or he'll be working in records division, or he'll be assisting the training supervisor doing clerical work.
Indeed. And obviously, Chief, our police are humans as well, and mistakes are made, but I would assume that kind of we want to hold them to higher standards because they are representing the Barnstable Police Department.
Absolutely, and they are held at a higher standard, and they should be held at a higher standard. This is an unfortunate incident, but the police officers who responded the evening shift, it was especially difficult for him because Bowman is assigned to the evening shift, so these officers that he interacted with when he was arrested, they work with him every single day. So it was a difficult night for them, but I'm extremely proud of what they did. They did what they had to do under the most difficult circumstances. Bowman's been with the police department for 3.5 years. He's done a great job for us, and it's unfortunate, and hopefully we will all get through this.
Indeed, and Chief, I did read in the newspaper that Officer Bowman was one of the responding officers to that tragic fire that happened in Hyannis, in which an 8-year-old child died. And is there any concern that he might be perhaps suffering some mental trauma still from that?
I don't know how you would ever get over that. I'm sure there are some repercussions from that. Not only was he responding there, but he was the first officer there. He was there before the fire department, the rescue squad got there. When he got there, the shed was on fire, and he could actually see the individual, the young kid in there, actually on fire, screaming for help. And Bowman did everything he possibly could to get to the fire, but the heat was so intense, it kept pushing him back. And he and a neighbor got garden hoses to try to douse the fire, did everything they possibly could. After that incident, we offered him the EAP, and we do know that he did seek some help. But no matter what help you get, how do you survive something like that? And I'm sure that's all part of it. It's not an excuse. It might be a reason, but it's certainly not an excuse for what he did. Yeah,
absolutely. Well, Chief, thank you so much for that update. Tell me a little bit what else is going on here in town, or what has gone on in the past week. How's it been?
Besides that, it's been a relatively quiet week. We did have one stabbing last Thursday night on Walton Avenue. The evening shift responded to number 16 Walton Avenue regarding an assault which just occurred. An individual named Robert Doobie had crashed into a house, attacked a male subject in the house, beat him several times. When the gentleman got up and tried to run out the back door, he was stabbed in the back by Mr. Doobie. Both these individuals, the victim and the defendant, Mr. Doobie and Mr. Richards, are well known to the police department. There is a relationship between, I'm not sure, ex-girlfriend and current girlfriends or what's going on, but Mr. Doobie was subsequently arrested. The other individual was transported to the hospital for a minor superficial wound to his back.
You can hear from Police Chief Paul McDonald every Tuesday morning on Barnstable This Morning. And Barnstable This Morning airs live on Channel 18 weekdays at 7 a.m. On tomorrow's show, we will chat with Cape Cod Chamber of Commerce CEO Wendy Northcross. We'll hear about a new seasonal job opening with Consumer Affairs Specialist Elizabeth Hartsgrove. Plus, we'll have all the news and information you need. For Barnstable Today, I'm Sarah Mantle.